Hey, this is Joel Oney at the J Money Studio in the heart of the Buckeye State. And I want to personally welcome you to today's episode of the Steel Kings podcast with my good friends Jared Ledford and Eric Olson, better known to you as the Steel Kings. Be sure to check out jmoneyllc.com for financing solutions for your buildings. And now, let's get back to the Steel Kings podcast.
What's going on, Mr. Eric?
Let's go.
How are you today, man?
We're live.
Yeah, we're live, man. I am Jared.
What episode are we on?
Bro, I lost count, man. I think this is 8, 7, 8,
or 9?
somewhere like that. Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
So let me get our music in there. Our music was giving us a little bit of a fit. So, As always, guys, I am Jared. This is Eric, and we are the Steel Kings. Back at you with another episode, and Eric is on the road. So Eric, it's been I think the last week we talked to Jeff Huxman over at Shed Hub, and you gave us a heads up that you were going to be traveling, and you are officially out and about. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, brother.
I'm out and about. This There's two ways to attack the business. Is to plan stuff and then react to stuff. And I'm out in Amarillo, Texas as a response to a super unique problem, actually. And it's really not a problem to me or you or Dayton Barnes, to be quite honest. We just ended up putting this big project up at this guy's house in Umbarger, Texas, which is like 20 miles south of Amarillo on a main drag. It is a beefed up 4-lane. It's not technically a interstate, but it is a 4-lane with a median. He put this thing positioned in such a way that it just catches the driver's eyes, and the guy's house is next to it. And he's just getting knock after knock after knock. And we sold some buildings from that process. So I'm out here today in response to him wanting peace over his home at night. So we're going to put a sign out front of the building as a satellite office, kind of work the deal out with the guy. His daughter bought a building. I'm going to go check that one out too, which is a little. So I'm out here in a, I guess it's proactive, but more of a response, and definitely want to jump on having a Google listing out in Amarillo that will help us tremendously. And honestly, the Barnes is taking me from corner to corner and of the country. So I'm not surprised I ended up in Amarillo, Texas, where by chance, Jared, it snowed 6 inches yesterday. It snowed 6 inches here. And so everyone I talked to was like, "Hey man, enjoy the weather down there." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to be 80. Nope, it wasn't. It was 32 degrees when I got off the airplane last night.
Wow.
And there was snow on my vehicle. So
I'll tell you what, man, it's crazy. So we're filming this April the 7th. You guys will get this probably the first week of May. But I'll tell you, this weather has been wacky up here in Ohio. We had some snow ourselves here last night, but the sun is shining, and it's says it's 50 currently. So there is no more snow, but we enjoyed it for another evening or so. So I'll tell you, man, it's been a busy couple of weeks for you. You've been to the post frame, or is it? Remind us what frame builders.
Last week was at the National Post Frame Builders Association trade show in Knoxville, Tennessee, downtown there at the convention center. Got to spend a couple days down there with our partners. J Money, he had a booth there. I'll let you get the official plug, but hung out with a couple other people from Graber. Finally met, and I feel like Idea Room's been somebody we've been in business with for basically since probably one of the first things we did was got the builder. And so that was cool to meet Mr. Dan. Dan's the founder there, so I got to shake his hand and everything. So man, epic trade show. Super excited to get that side of our business going, post frame. And so now I'm in Amarillo. Man. So
So Knoxville to Dayton, from Dayton to Amarillo. We got some other big meetings coming up. We're going to go head to North Carolina. Give you guys a quick plug to our sponsors, the guys over at J Money. If you are a contractor, a metal building or shed dealer, a metal building or shed manufacturer, check out the team over at J Money. They will help you get your building projects financed or your contracting projects financed. Again, the team over at J Money, led by Joel and Katie, they are happy to help you out with your needs. Brother, we are running into a little bit of a unique situation right now in the metal building world. And I thought it best if the Steel Kings come on and kind of maybe rest assure our friends, maybe. I don't know. I mean, we had a really strong month of March. I think you and I were both prepared for a little bit less than, given the current financial, coming to you guys a week after the stock market kind of fell off the side of a mountaintop, and we're seeing increased trade wars amongst us. And, Eric and I, let me preface this, we are not financial experts. We're not telling you guys what to do. But I can tell you right now, the uncertainty that's in this market, it can create some need for customers to lock those prices in and buy buildings, right, Eric?
Yeah. I mean, I think the initial shock value, I mean, the word tariff came out, I think mid-February. I'm just throwing that out there. I think it was mid-February. Yeah. Which the word tariff versus the initial reaction versus the behavior of the customer, it's always like super worse to hear it. And so I think that probably pushed some people over the edge to buy out of FOMO. But the biggest, and we'll go deeper into that topic, but you have to think, like, during COVID, when you couldn't even go shopping in general, we had an incredible year. We had like one of our best woodshed years, and metal buildings was getting purchased, so to me, I'm like, I've already felt pressure like that before. And so I don't,
I think our main, I'm in the trenches pretty much every day. Eric is still actively selling metal buildings. I work with a team here in the office to try to broker deals across the United States. I think what we're seeing from an 8-head strong sales team is a lot of people are just apprehensive that they want to hold on to their cash right now. Again, why we like the guys over at J Money, they help us finance these buildings. But I can tell you from a customer service perspective, right now is an excellent time to buy. If a customer is ready, they should be informed that prices are likely to increase. I don't think President Trump is going to back down on these tariffs. I think that there's something that in the long run, if you look at the general industry feedback is we want to go more towards a all-American steel product, and that's across every industry that utilizes steel. I think in the steel building space, we're obviously seeing a lot of tubing and materials imported from Mexico. I mean, that's just a fact, especially in the Southwest and in South. We see a lot of tube steel and a lot of building materials brought over from Mexico. And to be honest with you, if you laid two pieces of tube steel in front of me, I would never be able to tell you the difference. You may be able to tell the difference if that's what you do every day of the week, but a customer is never really going to notice the difference between a Mexican piece of tube steel and an American piece of tube steel. And what we're talking about, is what we do. We specialize in selling prefabricated metal buildings across the United States, most of the territories we cover. And we're seeing prices going up. I mean, we are seeing, messages from our manufacturers on a daily basis. Hey, we can still do this sale, or we can't do this sale any longer. We've got to move on to this new pricing sheet. Eric, what are you doing to reassure customers right now? I think that's where we want to go today is how can we help our friends and give them some reassurance to help them reassure their customers?
Are your shed sales down? Maybe you heard the latest news. Shed Geek and Shed Hub are now working together for the benefit of the shed industry. That's right, Shed Geek is now a managing partner for Shed Hub. One thing we want to instill immediately is your confidence in this service. The Shed Geek and Shed Hub collaborative effort means you will get the same trusted visibility from the awesome SEO efforts already created by the ShedHub team, while resting in the fact that ShedGeek will be streamlining the seller interface, website, and overall simplicity of the service. ShedHub has already done the work to ensure that we are the most visible shed shopping website. And here are the analytics to prove that. During the month of March 2025, ShedHub had over 2 million impressions and over 41,000 clicks from search. This means someone is on the ShedHub site every 60 seconds shopping for a shed. Why not have your sheds visible for just $39 per month? You can get signed up today by going to www.getshedhub.com. Once you sign up, a customer representative will reach out within 1 to 2 business days to ensure that you are onboarded and understand the program completely. Don't wait. Sell more sheds today using shedhub.com by going to www.getshedhub.com.
I haven't. It's always worse on the news than in reality, because I haven't had a ton of conversations about it. I mean, I was flooded with Facebook messages today from Idaho, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa. For some reason, I got a couple messages from Trinidad, Colorado. And I got one from Amarillo just because I think I'm in proximity. Nobody's bringing it up. And I don't think they're not asking about it. I just think that the initial shock wave has kind of subsided. Now, I think the reflection. So there's a couple things at stake that come to my mind too, because like what you said about the tariffs in the long term, like perhaps for lack of a better word, it's like the long-term game of why and tariffs are, because I think there's some sort of reset or something. Like they're just trying to get something to the table that's not even like related to steel. Steel prices are not going up. Steel manufacturing is not going down. So it's like, in fact, it's increasing. And I just think there's some sort of shakeup that's not even related, honestly, to the steel industry. But just rest assured, if you're a dealer out there or a customer perhaps listening, like, there's not much going on. There's some discounts that have went away in the interior part of the country. I've noticed prices are typically they're like a little bit higher. But in our normal regions, Southwest or Southeast, Southwest, Northwest, Texas area, like I feel like it's the same. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less in some areas, but I think the stock market taking such a dump is what is the chatter. But I don't,
Yeah, I think it's hard right
egg
now.
Prices have returned. They just needed more chickens, it turns out. So
yeah. I think it's one of those things where
eggs.
Yeah, no doubt. When we were dealing with COVID, so those of you listening know I bought my building from Eric during COVID. I was one of his very first customers during COVID. And I think the benefit that we had looking back on it was we were all getting a lot of disposable income. People were being given a lot of cash. And, President Trump at the time did a pretty good job of getting us extra cash and giving us, these rebates and things like that. And people used that money to pay bills, but they also used it to buy things that they wouldn't normally buy, like storage sheds, metal buildings. And that gave birth to really the industry that we're talking about now. I don't know that Eric would have went as far as he went had he not had such a successful year in 2020. It's just something that we've fallen in love with. And now it's time, we're going to be faced with dilemmas all the time, every day. This is just one that we're all going to share together. It's really imposing right now to listen to the news, listen to the feedback, and, sitting in an office space, we're getting it a lot. I mean, I know, I want to relate to you, the people that are listening, and say, I would imagine you're hearing quite a bit about the tariffs right now. I think that people are pretty freaked out about it. And I think my biggest advice to you is truck along. It's not always going to be there's not always going to be something negative going on. So you want to continue to work your leads, work your process, continue to price buildings, continue to do the things that you've always done. Because the second that you start to lay down and the second you start to give in to what's causing you not to sell is when you're going to not sell the most. I think, Eric and I are both guilty of that, of getting down in the dumps, getting into a lull and being like, when am I going to sell another building? I mean, right now we're just not feeling it the way some are. And if you're feeling it, drop us an email. Let us know what you're dealing with. Maybe we can help you out with the manufacturer, send you guys some good graces anyways. I think it's one of those things, Eric, where having a good teammate, like you and I are good teammates, right? If I'm having a bad day, I'll call you and bounce it off you. If you're having a bad day, you call me and bounce it off me. I think that's one thing that we don't do enough in this industry is we don't collaborate enough, nearly enough. We don't talk enough. It's all cutthroat and it's a race to the bottom. That's one thing that you and I have talked a lot about. And I feel like this is going to really show people who has the most in their deck to play with. Only the truest are going to survive through all of this. Wouldn't you think that's the case, Eric?
I'm actually somewhat, all these thoughts are coming to my mind. Like a couple years after the COVID year, all these smaller operations that worked for bigger operations, they all quit. And I'm saying all generalized. Like, let's just say 100 metal building manufacturers popped up. They didn't. It was really people working at metal building companies that left, stole the idea, made their own business. Those people are getting weeded out. There's a couple reasons why. Meta has tightened up on their advertising stuff. That's not related to the economy. That's just related to they're trying to AI everything, and that's been ebbed and flowed. We've seen $15 a message, we've seen $5 a message, we've seen 10, we've seen 8. The thing that I see the most is that people cannot blame. Okay, when something goes wrong or their sales are, they're just going to blame the economy, but that's not really the case. The pro tip for me is, so for the past 2 weeks, not the last 4 days, but the prior 10 days, I had gotten maybe 15 messages total. And I thought in my mind, okay, is it the economy? It wasn't. I just literally moved 144 advertisements to a different location, zip code wise. I just had to care about it.
Yep.
Today dude, it's 1:48 p.m. I'm buried, bro. I'm backlogged through 2 calls. And here, let me just pro tip. If you're dry, don't make excuses. Relocate your advertisements. Pro tip number 1, don't keep your ad in Boise, Idaho forever, because look, every person in Boise's seen it, man.
To give you credit and to let you lean on your own pro tip, Eric called me last week. So Eric calls me last week and he says, bro, what's going on with Meta? What's going on with Meta? And I'm like, bro, when's the last time did you move your ads, right? When's the last time did you work with it a little bit? And I had to calm Eric down. Like, Eric was right where you guys are. I mean, I'm telling you right now, sourcing leads in metal buildings and wood sheds, if they're telling you that they're having their best year, I'd like to see it. Maybe it's their first year. I don't know. I mean, a lot of my friends, a lot of the people that I trust in the industry, if you're having a down start to the year, I don't think that is all that abnormal right now. We are coming off of an election that was extremely divisive. It always is anymore. Emotional. And, people tighten up their wallets at election time anyways. But I can tell you, I think we're headed in the right direction, even with tariffs, even with the unrest, even with the stock market. Everybody seems to know that kind of stuff just kind of levels off. Like, it's a big, like Eric said, it's a big deal for like a couple of days. And then all of a sudden the stock market, the stock market rebounded 500 points today. Oh, and then the next day it rebounds 300 points. And the next day it rebounds 300 points.
They don't blow that out of the water.
Back. Yeah, all of a sudden it's right back where it was before all of the stuff hit the fan. And I mean, for somebody like me, this is all I do. We talked about this, right? I think a lot of the people who are listening to this might be doing metal buildings or wood sheds as a hobby or as a second source of income. I do this all day, every day. I eat, sleep, and breathe my job at Dayton Barnes. I mean, it is pretty much a 17, 18 hour a day kind of a process for me. It's, it's 9, 10 hours a day in the shop. It's an hour to and from to get to the shop each day. And then I don't rest. It's not like I go to the house, sit on the chair and think, oh man, I'm just done working for the day. I'm constantly thinking of ideas. I'm constantly thinking of how I can interact with customers. And I think that that's what some people do. And I'm just going to say some people. And if you're listening and it sounds like I'm talking to you, you're some people. Okay. You're some people right now.
Hello, Shed and Carport industry. I'm Cord Cook, Chief Brand Strategist here at Shed Geek Marketing. Did you know that Shed Geek Marketing works with 45 shed companies and counting? And we are not slowing down in 2025. One of the neat benefits to working with Shed Geek Marketing is working with an agency as opposed to just an individual. When you work with Shed Geek Marketing, you have a team of professionals working diligently to ensure your success. From branding guidelines and brand books to websites, Google and Meta tag tracking that measures the traffic to your website and social media pages, CRM setup and full automation build-outs, lead funnel integration, and so much more. Worried about whether or not we can serve you? Don't be. Shed Geek Marketing works with manufacturers ranging from $1 million a year in sales up to $80 million a year in sales. There is no manufacturer too big or too small. Remember, marketing is an investment that should be making you money. That's why nearly 50 companies have decided to work with Shed Geek Marketing. So for more information, go to www.shedgeek.com and submit some basic information, and we'll reach out with a discovery call and patiently walk you through how we can best serve you. Thank you for your time and look forward to working with you.
And I would encourage you, if you are not successful right now selling metal buildings and wood sheds, there is no real excuse for it. Period.
I just got another message.
Yeah. Eric's just gonna sit here. Eric's just gonna sit
How do
here
I get it?
How
do I show it? Look, I just got another one. Okay. This one is and this one I'm just gonna be it's in Salem, Illinois. I've got an ad posted there. Pro tip, spread it out. And that guy wants it third. And one thing, let me say this. There are things that are recession unfriendly, and there's things that are and I'm just using the word recession, like turmoil in the market. Things do slow down. Like car buying slows down. Something that doesn't slow down are like your niche items that aren't really how do I say this? Like if your median household income is like, let's just make up a number, 200K or something, and you want a $30,000 building, it doesn't matter what the Dow Jones does. You're buying a $30,000 building because you can afford it.
Right.
And there's some things that are recession or economic turmoil proof, and we're just fortunate that metal buildings is one. That carports, probably $3,000 carport, yeah, that's going to be affected because that's a different buyer. We're talking about a 20 to 30K. $4,000 shed, maybe you'll put it off to next year. Metal buildings, totally different ballgame. You might go from a 20K building down to a 15K building, but you're still getting the building because if you've got stuff you need to protect, like an ATV or a couple, you want to work on your truck, like you're going to work on your truck. You're going to buy that building. So
I think a lot of it comes down to validating the customers, right? Like finding out if the customer, one of the things that I feel like we didn't do very well for a time period that you've always done well, Eric. So a pro tip from me today would be find out a customer's realistic timeline. Ask them when they think they're going to get the project started. I can't tell you how many times I've been knee deep on a project with one of my project managers here in the shop. And they're like, yeah, I got a hot lead. It's a 30 by 50 by 12 with 4 roll-up doors. Everything's great. Hey, I need you to get on a call with this guy. We're going to get some financing on the table. And I get on the phone with the customer like, well, I was thinking about doing that maybe this time next year. Like I was just getting some preliminary. And by that time, my reps wasted a lot of time. Now I've wasted time. Like you only get that first crack. You only get that first swing at the ball one time. And once you make it, it's hard to go back and say, well, if you're not ready till next year, I guess I'll follow up with you in 6 months. How's that sound? By that time, you're risking losing them going somewhere else. You have to be able to really timeline this thing out. You have to be able from start to finish. And I think that's one of the things to pull the tariffs back into it. Right now is a good time to buy. If you are thinking that the prices on steel are not going to go up, you're whistling a tune right now to yourself. And I know Eric said that earlier. I don't agree with him. That's one thing he and I don't agree on. I think the prices will go up. Eric thinks the pricing will stay the same. 6 months from now, we'll see who's right and who's wrong. I mean, that's 50%. I think based on what I'm seeing in the industry.
Either way, it's a good time to buy.
Correct. At minimum, we're going to lose discounting. We've already started to see discounting being lost. And I think that from a dealer perspective is terrible. Like, we rely on those discounts to get customers in the door. That's our up, right? When we can say, hey, we're offering up to 35% off, or we're offering up to 25% off, or whatever that initial swing. And if that swing has meat on it, if that swing has a good follow through and everything's working, you get a customer that says, can I get a building quote? And then you're off to the racetracks. But if all you've got is, man, we got these really nice metal buildings, they're regular price, your discount is then going to come out of, and I think 99% of metal building dealers are the same. We all work on a down payment up front as our commission, right? Then we start eating into our commission. And let me tell you something, Eric, that's something that we have seen across the industry as a whole, is this trend towards manufacturers not wanting to help dealers secure deals, less price matching, less negotiation, and just more straightforward. Hey, if it's not for the price we have it listed for, we don't want it. What are you seeing, bro? Where is you do so many more quotes than me? I mean, I know that talking to us, we're very high level users. Now, understand when we talk, I could make a phone call and probably get a building sold for whatever I needed it to be sold for, as long as it was reasonable. But from a everyday run-of-the-mill type of metal building salesperson, I know that's what you're running into right now. I know it, because that's all I've done for the last 3 years. Be safe, buddy.
If it's a new quote today, nobody, like the person hasn't shopped before, they won't know anything. That's the best secret weapon. So you're only really addressing people you've talked to or shopped last year. I sold a building to a guy in New Mexico last week. I had to take off half the down payment because I quoted him in the fall. And I just scrolled up and was like, he said, I'll buy it today if you match the price. So I had to, and if pricing was settled, I would been able to probably charge full price, because that price was accurate when I quoted the guy.
Yeah.
Like new people, I mean, new people, they don't know. I mean, this is the craziest part. A guy in like Nebraska, let's just say you've been quoting, let's say you got some ads like Nebraska, for example, and let's say the building you've been quoting is $18K, and then the price goes up to $21K, and then now you got to adjust your ad, and then it's a month later. You're telling people $21K, but in your mind, you're like, dang, they're going to turn me away because of the $3K. They don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't know it. It's just 21K.
I think,
like,
I think that's a really, I think that that's a really valuable thing, is because we know that the price was cheaper. We know that the price was cheaper 3 weeks ago. We feel that much more inclined to apologize for the price up front, to say, well, I'm really sorry that the price is so high, but this is just where we're at because of steel tariffs. I think that's a good point, Eric. I think coming at it from the perspective of, look, whatever car you drive, that car was cheaper 5 years ago. Just because it was cheaper 5 years ago or 2 years ago or even last week doesn't mean that that's the price of the car today. The automobile industry has got this thing pegged. The price that's on the car is the price that you're paying for it, or you can take a walk and we'll sell it to somebody else. And I know that we're in a little bit different game, right? You don't have to have a steel building or a wood shed. But by God, if you want one, you want one. And I know that, if you're listening to this, the customer that wants what they want. And that's why I think validating the customer is very, 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 it is next level paramount right now, because I see an influx of, can I get a building quote with no substance?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can I get a building quote? I'm just looky-looing.
Hello, shed sellers. Did you catch the latest Real Work Labs interview with George Converse? If not, don't miss this value-packed episode. Head to Shed Geeks Podcast YouTube and search Real Work Labs. George and the Real Work Labs crew are riding the wave of Google's latest updates, taking your digital presence to the next level. We're tech artisans crafting your neighborhood brand voice for shed sellers like you to stand out, gain trust, and get found online. Our software will easily capture your work snapshots, videos, weave your craft's story, and get reviews all in one virtual experience. Our innovation goes beyond getting found for your business location, rather getting found for your work locations. Reviews intertwine with their corresponding job sites. When potential customers seek local expertise, you're the proven solution they'll find. It's high time to map your reviews and showcase your beautiful work in a meaningful way that builds trust in customers' neighborhoods. Ready for the journey? Visit shedgeek.realworklabs.com or call George today at 480-787-7575. Real Work Labs, elevating your trust, increasing your conversions, and getting you found where you work in the neighborhoods you serve, one shed at a time.
Let me, man, we're getting into some sales training here, but I love it. So pro tip, you got to sort through the initial conversation. Okay. So as a rep, I'm trying to figure out, okay, a couple things. Are you serious? And meaning what qualifies as being serious? Are you buying it in the next month? Is basically like, are you can I press you into buying a building from me, or are you kicking tires truly? Because if it's that, I'm just buddy. If it's not that, it's like, hey man, I'm going to give you a price. Here's my number. Lock me in. Call me in 6 months when you're ready to buy. But here's the price today. Please do not hold me accountable for this price. And just real talking with them. But the ones that, dude, and honestly, like on Facebook specifically, people are old school. These people that are buying these are homeowners. They're like in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. They would prefer to talk on the phone. Like one thing that I get is a wife or they're just seeing, hey, I just want to make sure you're not a robot. Can you call me? Out of the 15 messages that I got so far today, 2 people have asked me for my phone number, and I've already talked to a third one. One guy asked for an email quote. I'm not really that guy probably copy and paste. So like you can kind of read like, what is this, a pasted message to 4 different people, or like, hey, I like this building. Can you? I try to get them on the phone because, man, the phone is king. The phone is like, you can just within 2 minutes you can.
I think that's one thing. One thing that comes to my mind when you start talking about how customers interact with you. Couple of things actually, but the very first thing is you're not going to be able to sell what you don't love, what you don't enjoy, and what you don't care about. If you don't love what you're doing, please let somebody else do it. I mean, this is going to be my public service announcement for the day. If you don't love our industry, do something else, please. I'm begging you. I mean, if you don't like metal buildings and wood sheds, leave it to somebody who likes it, because me and Eric love it. The team that I have in here love what they do every day. I know that there are a ton of people. We've met a bunch of them here recently. Y'all are listening to our podcast. You guys are listening to a couple of guys that are just like you. Honestly, we are just like you. We started, Eric started this business with nothing. We've built this into a semi, little engine that could. We're doing a lot of different things. We're exciting, but we care about it, right? Care about it. Please, I'm begging you.
Care about it.
The other thing that I want to tell you about, I really want to stress this too. You will not get anywhere. You will not get anywhere with any customer by talking down to them from a point of the building's too expensive. Give them the price, man. Just give them the price. Don't beg them to buy the thing. Don't lower the value of it right out of the rip. You have got to jump on top of it and say, look, I have the very best metal building money can buy. I know it's $21K, but I stand behind it like the Rock of Gibraltar. I know you're going to get this building, and it's going to be the very best metal building that I can provide for you. and it's worth every penny of what I'm charging. Well, I'm talking to Jim Bob over here, and he's got the same building for $17K. Well, what kind of building materials is he using? What's his leg spacing? Start asking verifying questions. Ask them who is making the building. Please. I'm begging you. If you are a customer or a dealer, it matters. It absolutely matters. We were dealing with a quote the other day in here, and we were going back and forth with the customer. And every time we gave the customer like the exact same price, we're like, hey, this is our very best price. We're not going one nickel lower. He would come in with ABC 123 Metal Building Company, ZYX 123 Metal Building Company. Just kept telling him, no. The answer is no. And then he came in with, well, this company wants to give me concrete. And like, it took me one phone call to close the guy and say, look, the concrete quote that you got from that company is $7,000 cheaper than a local contractor who I know personally would do the pad and do a great job. He's going to be getting the concrete from this concrete supplier in this city. He's a contractor with a local license out of this area. I know where your building's coming from. This is how quick I can get it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This company was coming out of North Carolina, was going to do concrete $7,000 cheaper than our guy when we know where he's getting the concrete and we know how he's doing it. So how's a company from North Carolina going to come up here and beat us by $7,000? The quick answer is they're not. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Make them put their money where their mouth is. And if we would have lost that guy, I guarantee you we would have heard about it.
He would have been screwed over.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Number one,
for
bye.
Sure. For sure. Man. And that's the problem.
Huge shout out to Five Rivers, too.
Yeah. So the guys over at Five Rivers Construction Group, GCM Construction, really, yeah, we got to get Caleb on here. Caleb would be good. I think we'll probably pencil that in for a time coming up. I'm going to give a couple.
Hey, how about
plugs.
I was just say, bro. I would just say an episode. I know we're maybe first one that we launch in June or something. You know, we want to bring on a live guy who works with an architect, works with the counties, and installs pads. We want to bring him on the show, iron anything out, talking points, what customers say, because there's probably a million things he's heard that we don't even ever find out about, honestly. True partner, good man of God.
If you've got a question for a general contractor who does concrete pads, masonry brick walls, landscaping, drop it to one of our emails. Email us. We can answer the questions live on the podcast when we film it. I'm going to tie it up, Eric. I think we've got more to talk about. We're going to continue to talk on steel tariffs. I think this is going to be a continuating talking point. Our partners over at Sheds Direct are coming up. We're going to get them on a podcast. We're going to talk to the guys over at American Steel. Quick plug to the guys over at Shed Geek Podcast. Shannon and those guys are doing a great job. We absolutely love being part of the team. Dylan and the guys over at Shed Geek Marketing. If you are looking for someone to help you take the next step in your business, whether it be online through social media, Google ads, whatever the case may be, Dylan and his team over at Shed Geek Marketing. The team over at J Money, I cannot say it enough. We really appreciate them. Joel and Katie have been great to us. We're getting ready for Shed Expo. That's a little bit of an early teaser, but we'll be at Shed Expo in September. Eric, what do you got to leave the team with today? We're right at that time. We're going to take this conversation into next week. But what do you got on the way out this week?
With the steel tariff topic, continuing, man, I'd like to get into honestly, as a dealer, let me do some sales pointers. Let me do some tips next round for people who have metal buildings that aren't maybe all the way comfortable. So maybe just walking through how to quote, maybe and then my last thing is get ready for a Steel Kings podcast website rollout in the next couple weeks. We're working on it.
We demoed that last week with Jeff. If you did not check out the episode with Jeff and the guys over at Shed Hub, another great partner of ours here at Dayton Barnes. We love the guys over at Shed Hub. Check them out. It's getshedhub.com. They're still running the first 500 promotion. I think that's almost over with. If memory serves me right, Jeff said we were getting really close on that. Check those guys out. Check out last week, the last 2 podcasts. We talked to Jeff for over an hour, just talking about industry trends, what we're seeing in the industry, how to market sheds online. We care about that stuff too. So we will be back at you next week. We're just going to continue our talk from today. But in the meantime, I am Jared and he is Eric. We are the Steel Kings, and this is the Steel Kings podcast. And let me tell you something, guys, on the way out, all right? Be good to your neighbors. Be good to your family and friends. We're just a couple weeks removed from Easter. We want you all to have a blessed and happy Easter season with your families. Get out and get selling, man. Be good to somebody. We will talk to you guys soon. We're the Steel Kings. Later on, guys. Peace out.
Before you go, the J Money team wants to thank you for listening to today's Steel Kings podcast. Remember, money is king. If you need a financing option on your portable wood sheds or steel buildings, we are here to help. Just check out jmoneyllc.com for more information. Don't forget to catch the next episode. We'll still be here. Have a great day.